Hello crafters, this is Yana Smakula. Welcome back to my channel where I share handmade card ideas, tips, and tricks and help you be inspired. In this video, I'm creating a Mother's Day card with an amazing die from Becca Feeeken and Spellbinders, the pop-up 3D Vignette Typewriter. This die is the April 2020 Amazing Paper Grace Die of the Month Club from Spellbinders. I'm a big fan of Spellbinders dies in general, but this die has really caught my eye as it creates a rather large dimensional typewriter that sits on its own. The set comes with all the parts you need to assemble the typewriter. From there, you can decorate the typewriter however you like and make it work for any occasion by using various elements from your stash. This is a practice typewriter that I put together using traditional black and gold colors. The design of this die allows it to fold flat and fit into an envelope. This is an A2 envelope. It's a little bit too small. You'll need a 5x7 envelope to fit this die, but I just wanted to show you the concept in general. When folded, the typewriter measures 6.5 by 4.5 inches and should easily fit into a 5x7 envelope. Here's a close-up look at all the amazing detail this typewriter has to offer. Becca really did a wonderful job capturing all the smallest details a typewriter has. Now, if you cut these main pieces from metallic cardstock, they end up looking almost real, as metallic cardstock shows this sort of debossed and embossed detail the best. It really looks simply phenomenal. Now, a tip I will give you when you cut these pieces, be sure to use your embossing mat and then also emboss them in your die cutting machine. This will really emphasize all of the details that these die cut pieces have. Since Mother's Day is not that far away, I decided to decorate my typewriter and make it into a Mother's Day card. I have already done all of my die cutting and embossing off camera to save time, and I'm going to show you how to assemble the typewriter, as that might be confusing, although that's actually very easy to do. I used 2 shades of purple cardstock for this project. This is cardstock from Hero Arts in lavender and amethyst. Now, Hero Arts cardstock is very thick, and this is the main reason why I picked paper from this brand. I wanted the typewriter to be nice and sturdy. My mom also loves purple, so that's another reason why I picked this paper and these colors. The lavender is going to make the front of my card, and amethyst will be used for the back. The decorative pieces were die cut from brushed silver cardstock from Fun Stamper's Journey, and I also die cut additional layers from white cardstock to add dimension to these pieces. You can use foam adhesive to foam mount these pieces onto the typewriter. You can adhere them flat if you want, but I prefer to have a solid layer of dimension. So I often cut additional layers and use glue to glue them together to make one super sturdy and dimensional piece, almost like a chipboard piece. It does add weight to the project. If you're looking to mail the project, you will end up paying more, but if you will be hand delivering a project like this, it won't really matter. But it will look much more professional in the end, I think. I layered 5 pieces, 4 white pieces, and 1 top decorative piece cut from that brush silver cardstock. The keyboard was cut from white cardstock and again layered 4 or 5 pieces to create dimension and make it really sturdy. Next, I used glue and adhered these main elements onto the front of my typewriter. You can also decorate the back of your typewriter in the same way, meaning make it double-sided, but I decided to make mine single-sided only. There's also a space bar, a separate space bar, and I cut that one from brushed silver cardstock and again adhered using glue. I did not add any dimension to that piece. I also used glue to assemble the rest of the pieces and adhered them to my typewriter. I really like how all of the pieces are separate in this die set, allowing you to cut them from various colors of cardstock and create a very beautiful and realistic looking typewriter. In case you're new to the Spellbinders and their clubs, the Becca Feeeken Amazing Paper Grace Die of the Month, this is what this typewriter die is. It's a subscription club. It's a membership available from the Spellbinders website only. This subscription is $32.50 per month. US shipping is included in the cost. Every month, there's a new die set delivered to your door, along with lots of inspiration from Spellbinders and Becca herself. If you enjoy die cutting, you will enjoy these kits as the designs are always fresh and trendy. I don't share projects with these kits every month here on my YouTube channel, but I do try and create fun cards using these products whenever I can find the time. Now, take this piece, for example. This is the top ruler. You can see that it has all the indentations on it as you would see on a real typewriter. It's very clever, and it's the little details like these that make Spellbinders dies stand out. You can see I've adhered all the pieces in place, and now I can easily slide a piece of paper through my typewriter to make it look like as if it is actually inserted and ready to be typed on. There's also a die that will die cut individual keys for the keyboard. That does take a long time to adhere, especially if you're looking to add every single key, but I just add a few keys here and there to add detail to this piece. I also die cut additional keys to insert into my typewriter, and I picked a stamp set to stamp a Mother's Day sentiment on it. Now, the die comes with an insert that you can use to write newsflash. You adjust my type, but since I'm making a Mother's Day card, I went with a stamp set that reads, "On Mother's Day and every day, you are loved more than you'll ever know." This stamp set is from W+9. It is an older set, yet it is one that I really treasure and use year and year again. This set is called Strictly Sentiments 4. It is actually a stamp set from 2014. Can you believe it? Do you have many old stamp sets like this in your stash? I don't really have that many, but some sets are just so near and dear to my heart, I never have the guts to part with them. Plus, I do use them every year, even if that's just once a year. I used my anti-static powder tool and prepped the die cut panels for heat embossing. Next, I inked the stamps with clear embossing ink and stamped onto the panels. I used silver embossing powder from Hero Arts. I hardly ever use silver. I'm usually a gold embossing powder kind of person, but I feel like silver works better with purples. And then I used my heat tool and heat set the sentiments in place. And this is what they look like. Very pretty, I think. So here's that sentiment stamp I used for the sentiments for this card. It actually has several sentiments fitting for a Mother's Day card. I also used another stamp set from W+9. This is Fresh Cut Florals. This is actually a set back from 2013. Wow, I did not realize how old this was. But seriously, one of my favorites to use for stamping pretty dainty florals like these. I have already, as you can see, stamped and die cut a number of florals and leaves, and I used various shades of purple, yellow, and green to stamp those. My plan is to use these images to decorate the typewriter and also to decorate the sentiment panels. I want to create little floral arrangements using these die cuts to embellish the typewriter. Once I have my cluster created, I'm using a piece of washi tape to temporarily hold everything in place, and I'm adding foam adhesive squares and foam mounting this cluster back onto the typewriter. I'm also adding another smaller cluster in the opposite corner, and I'm doing the same thing. I'm building my cluster, I'm using washi tape to lift it up and hold it in place, then using foam adhesive squares to foam mount the cluster on the typewriter. Some of the stamping had to be done directly on the sentiment panel, so I used my stamps again and added several stamped images directly to the Mother's Day panel. From there, I layered additional pieces using foam adhesive and glue and made little floral clusters on this panel as well. I think adding this really helped to dress up my card and make it feel more like spring. I wanted to add a purple cardstock mat to this piece, so I trimmed about 1/8 of an inch off of each sides of my panel using my paper trimmer, and I adhered this panel onto an identical panel cut from light purple cardstock. Next, I used scissors and I trimmed the 2 top tabs on each side. Now, the tabs you see here are designed to insert the panel into the part of this typewriter vignette that makes it dimensional. Having 3 sides of tabs allows you to have those panels at different levels, as if you have a number of paper sheets coming out of your typewriter. It's very clever and expertly done. Now let's take a look at the actual mechanism that makes this typewriter into a dimensional piece. You'll need to die cut 2 tabs that look like this. Fold along the score lines to create a piece that looks like this. Next, insert the tabs into the slits. starting from the bottom first, then pull down to secure the tab in the slit. And then insert additional panels. You can have up to 4 panels. If you're making a double-sided typewriter, you can have 2 panels facing one side and 2 panels facing the other side. Like I said, it's very cleverly done. Next, use the second piece and insert the tabs into that piece in the same way. You will end up with a piece that looks like this, and you can see it easily stands on its own. So that is what makes the dimensional mechanism for this card. Next, you'll need to adhere this mechanism to your decorated typewriter. I like to fold the mechanism flat. Then I use glue to the little tabs. I just add bits of glue there. Next, I place my typewriter on top and press down. Because I'm using glue, I have some wiggle room and I can just adjust the placement. Here's what it looks like from the back, and here is where you need to adhere the mechanism. I'm sorry I'm going a bit off camera here. I'm trying to make sure that I adhere everything correctly. So here you go. The front has been adhered and the mechanism is working. Now you need to adhere the back typewriter in the same way, and you just repeat the same steps. For the back, I actually like to add glue to the typewriter piece, not to the tabs, and this is where you need to add the glue to correctly assemble this piece. Next, I like to stand my typewriter up and press down on the tabs. This way I can be sure everything is assembled correctly and the piece is able to fold flat and to stand up. I've added my front sentiment panel. I actually inserted it directly into the typewriter. I cut all of the tabs off on that piece, so it is not added into the mechanism that makes the piece dimensional, but rather just inserted into the typewriter. I'm also using additional flowers and leaves to decorate this project even further. And here's the look at the finished card. I really love the way it turned out, how dimensional and how realistic looking this piece is, and how fitting it is for spring and Mother's Day. I hope you enjoyed this video and you will give this idea a try. If you do, share and tag me. I love seeing what you guys are making. This video is a part of a blog hop by Spellbinders, and since it is a blog hop, there's a giveaway to be had. Head over to my blog to enter the giveaway to win a $25 gift certificate to the Spellbinders store. If you're new here, do subscribe and hit that bell icon to be notified about every new upload. Love you guys. I'll see you next time.